So our mountaintop moment here is going to be, we've been through a lot of the adventure and we're planning the train heist scene, right? We know where the key is going to be. We know where the buyer is going to be. We know what's going to try to happen. We have to try to get in there and break it up. And so they've got this kind of cockamamie plan where they're going to disguise themselves as the bad guys that have the key, and they're going to steal the key, and then they're going to go make the sale. And then they're going to follow the person that has the key and go find out what the actual MacGuffin is at the end of the other MacGuffin. Right. So this is the plan. And as part of this scene, Grace has this opportunity to effectively join the team, right? They have a nice little thing where it's not just Ethan talking, but it's the whole team talking, saying, hey, this is what we do here. This is kind of our shtick, is that we go on these missions to save the world. And it's kind of lonely, but it's also kind of much better than what we were doing before by ourselves. We've got a purpose and we've got each other to rely on. And you could be part of this team. You can see this coming kind of through the course of the movie. They were building up trust with her. We're building up her integration with the team. We're building up her relationships. And in the moment, she's not convinced. She's thinking about it. It's appealing. It's probably better than, being pursued and murdered shortly thereafter, but she's not convinced this looks like a really great lifestyle. But then it gets worse, right? Immediately afterwards, she's like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go through it. You can't promise to protect me, but Ethan promises your life will be a higher priority than mine. I'll do everything in my power. She's like, all right, I think so. And then the face printing machine breaks. And so then it turns out that he can't even go. She's got to go in by herself, and he's got to figure out some cockamamie way to get on the train later. Right. And so now it is not just like you can join the team, but almost like you have to buy into the mission. You have to buy into this goal that we have together, to the extent that you're going to go take the risk for yourself. And yeah, we're going to try to help you out, but you got no guarantees at all. Like you may not have any backup at all. And this moment of, how much do I believe in this? How much do I trust these people? How much do I believe in this mission? How much is this a better choice than my other life choices that are available to me? It's kind of a neat moment for her. Why would she do that? Why would she choose to get on that train wearing somebody else's mask and go put herself in this terrible situation? What do you think's going on here?
Yeah, because it's not in her past to go do that. In her past, it's always been about, get in, get out, get the money, keep yourself alive, keep everybody else at arm's length, so that you're protected, assumedly, because this is the archetype of character that she is, right? She's been betrayed in the past.
But this is how everybody else in this movie is behaving, right? This is the default behavior in this universe, is like everybody's in it for themselves, except for this weird little group of misfits that keeps getting into these terrible situations.
Well, and I would like to purport, Brian, that this is the default behavior in our universe as well, even though it's not always so obvious. It's like we say, we make mountains out of molehills in movies so that we can see what's actually going on, right? So we can analyze it, we can go to the mountaintop, and then we can go back and apply it to our little molehill in our lives. But I think this is correct. I think this is how the default human works. I know because I see it in myself, right? My default is to grab for the thing and assume that the thing will satisfy me and that everybody else will just be fine and they'll deal with their own situation. And what we have here is this superpower that Ethan has of trust that he's using to build up belief in Grace in something greater. And he's trying to teach her, Benji, and Luther are trying to teach Grace, who they see themselves in, the lesson that they also had to internalize. And if I were to make that lesson overly simple, the lesson is that to you, freedom looks like taking the $100 million and running away, and you'll have your autonomy, quote unquote. But what I'm telling you is that is death. He basically says that. He said, but what I'm telling you is that the alternative is that you submit your entire life to this choice that you're about to make, that you choose to be a part of this team, and you will, in a way, lose a lot of your leeway. You won't be able to go wherever you want. You won't be able to do whatever you want to do anymore. You won't be able to run away and hide. But this is true freedom. And that is really, really hard for us to accept as humans, that could possibly be the case. To quote the great music producer, Rick Rubin here, Rick says, discipline and freedom seem like opposites, but in reality, they're partners. And that is what is trying to be instilled here in a way. They're trying to say that, yes, IMF will require of you great cost and great discipline. You will now submit your will to somebody else's will or the greater good. But in doing that is true freedom. Running away and taking your 100 million in crypto and living on an island or doing whatever, that's going to seem great, but it won't last. Eventually you're going to get surrounded and you're going to get continually constrained by the world until you're just suffocated. And that's what they've found in their own lives over the course of these movies.
Right. Well, and I think that we talk a lot about freedom as a human goal, as a thing that we all aspire to. And it is true, but it is also true that we all aspire to purpose. Right. And we all aspire to community. You kind of need all those things in your life. And what we're seeing here is, Grace's choice for freedom is to give up community, give up purpose. She didn't really have either of those things before, but now she sees what it looks like. And if they have this conversation with her at the beginning of the movie, if they have this conversation with her in the police station in Rome, she doesn't have any reason to believe. She doesn't have any reason to trust them. She doesn't have any reason to feel part of the community. She doesn't have any reason to believe that their purpose is greater than just getting money from other people, right? But at this point in the movie, she's seen, they've repeatedly saved each other's lives, and they've got this team that's clearly not living a glamorous lifestyle, but they're taking care of each other in ways that nobody is doing for her. And so she's recognizing the choice that she's making is not just the choice between freedom or not freedom. The choice that she's making is between absolute individual freedom and less individual freedom, but community and purpose.
Yeah, and this would be the ancient wisdom, is that true freedom is not the ability to choose every single day what you will do with every option on the table. It's the ability to choose the thing that gives you purpose and not choose everything else. And in that way, all of the options being available on the table and enticing is actually considered to be constraint. It is slavery. Grabbing for the wrong thing that doesn't actually give me long-term satisfaction, instead of narrowing my choices by the character that I cultivate to the point where what I can choose now is the thing that is good for others, is the thing that is self-sacrifice, service, whatever, right? That's the only choice that even appeals to me.
Right. And that's what trust gets you, right? That's what giving trust,
yes.
What Ethan is skillful at is giving trust when it's not deserved, but earning trust by these small incremental actions of I'm going to give of myself even when it's a little bit risky. I'm going to take care of you even when I don't have to. I'm going to show you what it looks like with these other people that I have, that I trust, right? That gets you to the point of this is a radically different worldview than the everyone for themselves pointing guns at each other standoff that everybody else in the world, every organization in the world, everybody else involved in this movie is acting like, and they're showing a radically different way of living.
100%. Right. And the method by which he does that, I love that you're saying that, right? Because Brian, you and I can sit here and we can literally quote 100 different quotes about what freedom is and what will really satisfy you in your life and stuff like that. And it could be as true as can be, but how meaningful is that? How easy does that make it for somebody who listens to this content, or even for you and I who talk about it, to go and actually live in accordance with that? How easy? It's not that easy to just hear about it, right? But what Ethan does is he actually does something about it. He shows and builds trust in other people. It's actually that building of the relationship, I think, with Grace that helps her to just slowly believe that what Ethan's saying about, hey, given your specific situation, there is a better and worse choice you can make. I'll give you both choices. You can take what you want, but I would lean this direction if I were you, because this one will be fulfilling. Slowly, she starts to believe that truth until we get to the point where she's sitting there with the phone and the cryptocurrency, right? And there's $100 million on the line, and she can either take the money and try to become a ghost, or she can decline the money. And her only option is then going to be to ask to join the IMF, basically.
Yeah, run back to this potential community. That's the choice of having fear and being by yourself, right? And having to deal with it, or having fear and having people that could be there to have your back, right? Having fear, but because you have chosen a purpose. That's the choice that she's making. So the cycle of building trust can squash fear. The cycle of building trust can build community. The cycle of building trust can offer an alternative to this selfish pursuit of absolute freedom.